first off, congratulations on your new music. Super exciting that you're going to be dropping new stuff for the fans. So talk to me a little bit about the inspiration for Own This Town.
Well, Own This Town, me and my good friend Emmanuel Kiriakou, who's a really successful pop producer now, we've been friends for a long time. We wrote this song a bunch of years ago and never got around to recording it. I've been kind of busy, with the new kids, and that's kind of been the place where I've been writing and making music. And with this time and the pandemic and all this downtime, I think we finally had a moment to, we started singing it again on these web series that I was doing just to stay active and connected and on my toes and singing. And we finally had an opportunity to make a track and put a vocal down. And it is kind of fitting. I mean, even though we wrote it a while ago, it has sort of a, it's realistic in the sense that it's about someone like, okay, here's where we are. We have our tough times, but you still got to get up. You still got to show up, and you still got to swing for the fences, So there is some hope there, but it's realistic at the same time. So funny enough, I think it makes a little bit more sense now.
Yeah. The context with 2020 and everything this year has brought us, I'm sure of it.
Yeah.
During the pandemic, how do you feel music has best brought people together? We might be in our individual homes, and yet it's been really cool for me personally to witness how artists and musicians have found creative ways to still give us music and kind of bring us together.
Yeah, it's so important. I mean, I have 3 kids, so 3 little kids, and they're kind of like the DJs, and they're, whether it's in the car or at home, just, music is everything. It's magic, it's, there's that rock and roll song from the band called Boston, that more than a feeling, it's like, it is more than a feeling, it's like energy. It infuses you. It just makes you feel alive and feel okay, and lets you, it says it's okay to feel your feelings.
Yeah. And you mentioned, your 3 children, you have the most beautiful family. How has being a dad of 3 changed you? What's maybe the biggest way in which you switched it up on us after fatherhood?
I used to think it was like half listening and half what I said. Now I realize it's really, parenting is like 98% like what you do and how you carry yourself and leading by example, which is really humbling because I'm human and I'm not perfect. So I'm just thrilled though. I mean, the homeschooling and distance, learning has been stressful, but at the same time, like, I get to go in, this room or that room or over to my daughter or over to my son and give him a kiss or give him a hug or, Daddy, I want a snack, and you sneak a little snack in, and, and that's well balanced with like, Dad, you don't know how to do this. You don't know math. Get out of here. All that stuff. So, but I know how lucky I am and how lucky we are. So just rolling with it, Yeah.
Do they realize, fully comprehend rather, the height of their father's fame level, the teenage years?
Yeah. I think they see the old stuff. It's also, when your dad's like playing arenas and these huge, during the day you're on the tour bus and you get off and you have a regular day and you try to take him to the zoo or take him to anything, and then all of a sudden it's showtime. Yeah. And their dad's up there and 10,000 people are going crazy. So I think that's a fun, special thing, but there's plenty of normal days in between where they definitely keep it real and keep me very grounded. So yeah.
Are they musical, or is anyone showing, the possibility of following in your footsteps yet?
Well, my son, funny enough, my oldest son is now on a Netflix sitcom.
Oh, that's interesting.
I know, right? It's called Country Comfort, and it'll be out next year. It stars Catherine McPhee, and he's part of this musical family from Nashville, and so he's got this country accent, but he's doing phenomenal. He grew up just performing and just having fun. Luckily, been in front of some amazing people. He studied at the Debbie Allen Dance Academy,
Oh, wow.
and an amazing place. And just so we were lucky enough, I feel like, to put him in front of great teachers. So it's not that surprising, but it's really exciting that he got that gig. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, congratulations to him. You've got to
Yeah.
be so proud. You joined New Kids at such a young age. It was 12, right? 12 years old?
Yeah. Yeah.
What do you remember most about that period? Not the fame and everything that came after, but
Yeah.
literally joining the audition. How did it happen? Just kind of like rewind for our viewers.
Yeah, I mean, it was in many ways, for such a group that, got so big, it happened very unceremonious. It was, I think a total of maybe 10 guys, maybe less than that, auditioned for the group. And at one point it was really Donnie, Maurice and our first manager, Mary Alfred, found Donnie, and that was the key. And he was the one, after a while, was like, I got to put this band together, because Maurice Starr, the producer and songwriter, could get distracted, from other things. So finally, he got kids from his school. Jordan and John were in the choir. Danny was breakdancing and performing. He was his buddy. They had one other kid, but he wasn't totally into it. And they wanted even though those guys were 15 at the time, they wanted like a tiny, little guy. And I was just staying busy doing theater in Boston, and
Were you?
and they started calling schools around looking for little white kids who can sing and dance, and
You were
and
like, I
did
checked
it.
those boxes. That's
Yeah,
it. I got it.
yeah, pretty much. I mean, I was kind of scared at first, because I just wanted to have my little childhood, and they were from Dorchester, so I was just like, I don't want to go over there, and but I finally did. I mean, it's all in the stars. You know what I'm saying? It's like it wasn't easy being the youngest, and then being older and literally being the new kid on the block within the group. I had never come up against that kind of dynamic, and the kids were fine, but there was some times where there was some pushing and shoving and kind of little dash of bullying and all that stuff. But they always had my back, and um,
How did you
I
stay out of trouble, especially being the youngest one? Like, I can only imagine. So was it like, was it the parents? Was it, the manager? Who was like, okay, somebody keep an eye on this kid. We got to keep him
yeah,
out of all the.
I know. When we finally went on the road, I was 15, and like, thank God my mother or my father didn't come, because that, to me, that's almost like the law now. You have to, but like, for some reason I got away with it. I mean, my dad would come out on the road and check up on things, but the other four guys, thank God, like, they weren't into drugs. They didn't even drink. They really just wanted to meet girls. That's it,
Right.
So there wasn't anything shady going on. We were working hard. We were like running after our dream, and the worst part about it was we were so busy, so we were exhausted. After a few years.
Right, right. You mentioned the girls. We've all, I think most women, myself included, we have like our obsessive boy bands. I just knew I was going to marry my favorite guy. And it's just like,
Yeah.
back at that age, you're like, what? So I can only imagine the stories you have from these girls who were just
Yeah.
obsessed. Do you have a wildest fan moment that you still remember that to this day you're like, okay, fans are one thing, groupies are another thing, but this, even we were.
Yeah, I mean, you have like totally, crazy bonkers, like, on the fun side, and then a little crazy, like the letters are a little too funky, you know what I mean? So we kind of seen it all. I mean, we kind of, when we're asked that, there is one. I when we were in Korea, I went into my hotel room coming from the gym, and like, going to take a shower. I walk into the bathroom, and there are two Korean schoolgirls behind my door in the bathroom. Yeah.
In your room.
Yeah,
And I
in
would
my room. They
watch.
got in my room somehow, and I screamed like a Korean schoolgirl. You'd have think it was, like every
That's
kid's
where
dream. And I was just like, I grabbed a towel and I ran down the hallway.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
yeah. So, and I scared the hell out of them too. So everybody was scared, you know.
Everybody was
Yeah, yeah. It
that.
was, yeah. But you know, it was crazy for a while there. But obviously, that kind of stuff definitely, you know, makes people notice, and it helps with the success of the group. But
Right, right.
you know, it's a good balance now. You know, our fans are like family now, but once we hit the stage, we get to be rock stars, and they get to be teenagers again.
What would you say has been the key to all these years later staying friends and still enjoying each other? It's one thing to work together, it's another thing to enjoy working with someone all those many
Yeah.
years. So how do you guys keep that dynamic up? Is there a group chat? Do you guys hang when you're not
Oh,
working?
I mean, first of all, we've been torn again for, you know, a long time. You know what I mean? For like 10 years now. And so we know how lucky we are, and we want to keep our fans happy and keep it fresh and authentic. And so even with this pandemic, we've been checking in to do some, you know, for fun and for free, like Zooms and goofy game shows on Zooms with our fans, and just staying connected. And you know, as far as the friendship, um, you know, you really benefit from having five guys and five different personalities, and so you benefit from that balance, you know. And we've known each other for a long time, you know what I mean. And when you put all the other stuff aside, like, we really are a family.
Yeah.
And for the most part, we don't mess that up, you know, and that's what's most important.
That's special. We can't forget those iconic dance moves. If you had to pick a go-to, what is your go-to move of all of the new kids?
Yeah, well, the go-to is that right stuff dance, you know what I mean, when you're swinging back and forth, which we stole from Morris Day and the Time, you know. So, and we just made it white, as I said before. You know, we didn't make it too white. You still have to have soul to
There's a
do
little
it.
something, something there, yeah.
Unfortunately, you know, too many people thought they could do that. You know, it's like the fans would come up to you and try to do it, and you're like, please, please don't, please just let us do the dance. You know, so that's, you know, that's probably the one that is most iconic.
Of all of the looks, the big hair, the big shoulders, what
Yeah.
do you hope never comes back? What should we just put
I'm trying to bring back the big hair. You know, it's
it's
like the
working
COVID.
for you?
I haven't had a haircut in 7 months.
This
I
is
got some
working.
highlights I'm trying to hang on to. You know, I don't know. You know, it was rough going there for a while. I don't know what the hell we were thinking with some of those outfits, but it seems like every time we get through an era or a look or a fashion at the time, we really think we know what we're doing and this is it. And then it's almost like without fail, we look back and we go, what the hell were we thinking?
Yeah. Like it felt so right at the time, and now
So
you're
right.
is so wrong.
Yeah.
How? Just how? Well, before I let you go, I just have a couple quick more questions. Back to Own This Town,
Yeah.
obviously. If you could just dive into where you're hoping to explore with the solo music. Own This Town is the first of, I would assume, more music to come.
I hope so. I mean, I've been really able to be active with the new kids and write music
Uh-huh.
for and with the new kids, and that's been a real gift and a real challenge because, you know, it's intimidating to write for your bandmates. You know, you want them to really love it. So that's been quite an exercise. You know, but I haven't been with them, and I thought, well, I want to stay active. So I think, you know, putting something out, you know, solo is just felt like the right time.
Mhm.
But it is family, you know what I mean? And I don't see it as separate things, which is a nice thing. You know, I've definitely gone through periods in my life where I just wanted to assert myself and say, no, this is me. But I've lived too long and have too much experience to worry about that. Now it's like I get to share this music. I think it's a great song. I really feel like it's probably, you know, the best vocal I've ever recorded, and that's a nice feeling. You know, you always want to feel that way, but it just feels right. And then that way I don't have to force it. You know, I think when we really feel good about something, it has a way to just kind of release and do its own work. and that's a good feeling.